Welcome to our class today. Today we want to discuss about void element, or you call it self-closing tags. That's not where we are going to stop for today. We're going to also revise everything we did from day one. We've been working on something for a very long time now, so we want to compare everything, and it's going to be like an assignment, but the same process. You bring it out, you solve it by yourself, get the solution, then after that I bring out my own solution and we do it together. We want to do everything right from the first class. We'll start with heading to paragraph to this void or self-closing element. So having said that, at the end of the day we should be able to work on this. Let me show you what we want to work on. If you check very well, it's about 3 cases. Just take a look at this. You see how everything is like, jam-packed, everything is together, nothing is here, right? We want to see how we can use self-closing tags to achieve something, and maybe turn this to this. That is where analyze, or where analyze in Microsoft Word. So that should be our goal for this class. And in turning this to this, in turning the first one, which is this, in turning it to this, you have to apply everything we've learned. So in this small piece of item contains all we've learned so far. So we want to test your knowledge on that and see how far you can go. So having said that, let's move on to today's class. It has to deal with void element. When we talk of void element, what are we talking about? Of course, void element is just like when, for example, in every other thing we've been doing before now, we have a closing and self-closing tags, right? We have a closing and self-closing tags. But when it comes to void element, it doesn't have a closing and self-closing. That is the major difference. It doesn't have a closing and self-closing. Void element, we won't call it a closing tags, okay? Because if we say that it has only a closing tag, we are wrong. Why do I say we are wrong? If we do some comparison and analysis, we find out why we are wrong. Let me just show you the picture. For example, this is horizontal row element, right? You have your opening tag, you have your opening tag. In opening tag, it has to come with the first less than, and then another greater than for opening tag, right? Now, if you want to do your closing tag, let me show you as an example now. Let me just come over to our VS Code. I want us to compare these two. Let me just bring it down a little. Okay. Now, look at our opening tags, right? Now, look at our closing tag for P. How did it go? You see there's first less than, then a slash before greater than. But for the case of this, is it like that? No. You only see a greater than, the last greater than, and a slash. Nothing like less than and a slash. So you can't call it a closing tag that you only have a self-closing tag. No. These are mistakes that most programmers made that is wrong. Okay? It doesn't have like that. It has its own form, and that's why we call it void element. And on void element, another difference between void element and opening and closing tag element is that for void element, nothing appears here. Remember, for opening and closing tag, if you bring out your opening tag, you have your tags, then you have your element in between them. But for void element, it doesn't have that. You only have that item that is only the tags. Like in this case, HR. Okay, it has only the HR. So what does HR stand for? HR stands for horizontal line. Horizontal line, or we call it horizontal row element. Okay. For example, this is a paragraph, right? In this a paragraph, what do you see? You see your data, what I just explained before now. You see your opening tag, you see your closing tag, and you see this. See this arrow, you always come between, immediately after the less than, you see the arrow. But for the void element, what do you see? You see your HR, then you see the slash, and you see the greater than, not less than. So I think there's a less than here, after we say okay, it follow the rule of closing tag. Okay. So, but rather, immediately after the forward slash, the next you see is greater than. But for this normal one, immediately after the less than, the next you see is forward slash. Okay. Now, horizontal rule, just like the way it stands, horizontal. Okay, horizontal rule. So that's just the way it stands. But let's go on and you see further about this. Now, what is this work? Let's take a very good example. You notice this? These are paragraph text that we used before now. This is a paragraph and this is another paragraph. Now, in between, if you add horizontal rule in between the two of them, what do you see? You see something like this, a rule. That's how we call it rule, horizontal rule. So that rule is added so that you remember the work of horizontal. Okay, HR, horizontal rule. So the rule is this line that you demarcate. So as part of serving a space, you also bring out a line, and that line demarcates everything. Okay, so that is his job, to demarcate, add a space, and then demarcate. Okay. But is horizontal rule HR the only void element we have or self-closing tag we have? The answer is no. We have others like break element. And if you check break element, it's also the same process. Email after the less than, you see the num BR, which is stand for break. And email after that, you see your forward slash and your greater than. Same thing, and that's why it belongs to the same family as void element or self-closing element. So having said that, let's now proceed. And so find out how, let's do a kind of comparison. From there, we'll now get to know the work of breaking. Remember, I would say horizontal one is for ruler, right? Give a space and draw a rule. What about horizontal line? Horizontal line help your work to space. If you're typing in HTML don't understand space. For example, as you are typing, you press enter. If you like, press enter 100 times. It will reflect when solution is gotten, it's achieved. Yeah. So for you to know, for you to add a space, what do you use that horizontal breaking line BR. You use breaking line BR. Just take a look at this before we go to this. Say, to see a word in grain of sand and a heaven in white flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. You see how everything just come out in a remember it's a paragraph, but it's just a straight line paragraph. Nothing to break it down. But this is a poem, and as a poem, it's supposed to be one line for each. That's how a poem is supposed to be organized. Now take a look at the poem here, where we apply the breaking rule. You see, to see a word in a grain of sand, then there's a break, and a heaven in a white flower, there is a break. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, there is a break, and eternity in an hour. So you see that it becomes more easier to read, more easier to understand. Are you getting the point? Are you understanding it? Surely. So how do you now apply this breaking rule? Let's say there's a write-up and we told you to apply breaking rule. How do you decide to be exactly like this? This is how you do it. To see a word in a grain of sand where there is comma, you can remove the comma or leave the comma, then you BR. And remember, this is the same method. Your opening, close, or your close, less than, your BR, forward slash, then your greater than. So you apply it, you come over, and a heaven in a white flower, you apply it. So this is exactly the way it is done. So by the time we move on to VS Code, this is exactly what we're going to type. And for that write-up, for our final project on this particular course right now, those things I show you on Microsoft Word. This we use your BR to use or to break. And where appropriate, so use your HR to put horizontal line. And at the end of the day, you should also make use of your paragraph and your headings. So that way you achieve that final goal on this particular course for today, or we're training you today. So at the end of the day, you need to achieve something like this, and also something better than this on the other one as well, or something like this. So this is how this is done. So having explained this, we now move on to the assignment. This is what we want to achieve. We want to show where this is completely. If you remember, this is your H1. Don't forget this is your H1, and the name stand all alone. But if you are using your normal paragraph and the rest, this name will not stand alone. This way you are seeing that it's coming one will not be like that. It will just be normal jungle bar, just like this. Let me show you. It just be like this. It's just like this. This just like this. That's how it will be. This is how HTML will format it for you. Now, how do you do this so that it will actually become like this? How do you achieve that goal? That is the assignment. So what I would like you to do right now is very simple. Okay, you're going to try to pause this video, pause it, and see if you can achieve something like this. If you're able to achieve it, or well, and if you're unable to achieve it, I've also bring out the solution that we will work it together, okay, and achieve the same goal. So pause now and try to achieve something like this, okay. So I believe you've been able to achieve it. So let's start it one by one. First, I will copy the name. And remember I told you the name should be H1. And to make that work easier, I already say I like to copy everything at once. So, you know, you've grown up. I'll say you've grown up. So let's not do it as if you're just starting all over again. Okay. So come over here. We want to post this on our profile. Remember, we have a profile. So I'll go to where we have, yeah, this is our profile. Section 1 of our profile. That's where I want to paste this. So for that, sorry, we made it H3, but now, okay, let's put it under H2, okay? Right. Let's put it under H2 and then put the other one on H3, our profile. So the reason why we are making it H2 is because already, sorry, let me remove all of this, sorry. The reason I'm making it H2 is because already we have H1 already as our website, and that's supposed to be the title of our website, supposed to be H1. So not H1 will come there again. So the next we can do is H2 because we are writing the same thing, like about us, our profile, our portfolio and stuff like that. Let me copy only this and make it H2. So that the work will be easier for you to understand that I have to go back. So Ctrl V. Ctrl V for paste. Don't forget Ctrl V for paste. So we'll now come over to H3 where we are going to do the major work. I will now copy every other remaining thing and place it there, which is at the address. I'll copy only the address and place it there and work on the address. So as you are working, let's say your client gave you this to do. How do you do it? Don't rush. Take it one after the other so you won't get confused. And as you're working, you take a look at what they want you to do. Now they want to, after putting the H2, the next one is your address before the HR. Now to achieve the address, you use BR, which is break. You have to break all this one after the other side. We'll be coming to the next line, next line, next line, okay? So to achieve that, you can put on a paragraph if you want to, and then use break to achieve. Or you leave it like this and use break to achieve it. And when you get to these two, you now put these two on a paragraph. Any way you do it is good for you. And don't forget to, this one should also be a heading. Maybe heading 3 or heading 4 or heading 5 or heading 6. Already you've used heading 2, you've used heading 1. So remaining heading 3 downward. Okay? Are you getting it? Are you understanding what we are saying? So it ended in UK. So you have to come over here and look at where UK ended. So where is UK ended? If you didn't see it, you just copy this straight away. That's what you want to do. Or you go back to your work. When this is your work, let's assume that you don't have this right now. This is what you have. So come to what you have and make use of what you have. So you start writing the address from 17 South to UK. When you get to UK, that is where it ended. So you bring it down up to UK. Yeah, this is UK. You end it in UK. Then you can use Ctrl S. You know why? So that anyone you finish copying, you know that one is over. So you won't be having problem to start tracing the one you did, what you did not do. So use Ctrl S. So you cut it out. And once you cut it out, now that one is over. Then you come over here. And let me tell you one thing. There's one beautiful thing about programmers, coders. And that beautiful thing is what? Patient. You don't rush your work. Oh, I want to do it forever and go. No, you're going to make a mistake. And that mistake might cost you. Imagine after building a website for your client, you've sent the website to your client, only for your client to not find that most of the wordings is not what it told you to do. Why? Because you rushed. So please, do not rush your work. It's one step at a time. Don't make any mistake. Take it gradually, and you're going to get there. Okay? So you've achieved this. Now, how do we now break it down? You come over again and look at what your client wants you to do. Okay? I'm taking it like raw, taking it like as if we are beginner, because that's what we are. So you come over here, 17 South Mountain Street is the first one. So you go back there, go back to your VS Code and look for 17 South Mountain Street, 17 South Mountain Street, and that is it. And in between it, what do? You put your BR, okay? You put your BR, which is your break, okay? That is achieved. You don't need to bring it down or bring it up. HTML doesn't understand. They meant to put your BR even if it's on the same line. Once you run this code, once HTML want to run it, it will break it for you and bring it down. Okay, so this is like putting enter. Okay, on Microsoft Word you use enter, but in coding you don't use enter, you use BR. Hope you are getting this very well. Please don't rush this work. Now you go to the next one and look at what your client wants you to achieve. You take a look at it again, because you take a look at it again, it's okay. After the 17 start mode, the next one is London. London should be on its own. Then WIK5QT should be on its own. Come over here. If you forget anything, don't worry, still go back. Don't rush. Okay, London should be on its own. So when you get to London, what do you do? The same BR. Okay, and WT5K something. So if you're not saying anything, for it to make your work easy, you can bring it down. Okay, after all, it doesn't have any effect. Okay, so WIK5QT should be on its own. You also put your BR. Okay, and the last one is UK. UK should be on its own. So in UK, you also put your BR. Or you can bring it down if you want to, or even if you did bring it down, it will still work. Put your BR. And this is how you achieve this. And don't forget, as we are doing this, you're also running it to see if you are doing the right thing. Okay, so right click and open your VS Code and be watching what you're doing, just to make sure that everything is in line. Everything, so you won't, after everything, now start going back to maybe there's a mistake. No, that's why you always put it side by side. Look at how I put it side by side. You check out William Blake, 17 South Moulton Street, London, WIK5QT, then UK. And after this, you go over and check, is it the same thing exactly the way your client wants you to do it? If it's not the same thing, go over it again. You see it, everything is the same. Now that we've achieved this goal, we now want to move ahead to the next goal, which is to put the horizontal line. Okay, let me go back. Admin is only me, I won't waste all this time. You put the horizontal line, and you know how to put horizontal line, right? Let's go back. I'll show you how to do that in a jiffy. So, but meanwhile, let's check our work. Like I noticed something that I still need to work on. This BR in UK. Let me remove it and see if it will apply.